Welcome and good evening, and holy cow, do we have a full house tonight. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the Pitt Meadows Community Association and the Pitt Meadows Maple Ridge Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event and giving us an opportunity to hear from our candidates and their vision that they have for our city. So we're going to start with the candidates for mayor, and then we're going to move on to the candidates for council. Now, the candidates for mayor, they will have opening statements, and then they will answer 4 questions. 2 of those questions will come from you on the floor. The next is a written question that has been submitted by somebody in the crowd. And then the candidates will have a chance to do closing statements. As we move on to our council candidates, it's pretty much the same format. Again, they'll have opening statements. They will have 4 questions. The very, very first question will be the live question from the floor, and all of the candidates will answer that. And then the next 3 questions will be written questions that have been submitted, and 4 of the candidates will address each question. We're going to start with our opening statements for our candidates for mayor, and first up is Mr. Becker. Would you like to come to the podium with your opening statements? Thank you.
All right, good evening. My name is John Becker, and I'm running for the position of full-time mayor. To settle what remains of this issue once and for all, I am 100% committed to the job of mayor, and I'll make the job of mayor my #1 priority. As your full-time mayor, I intend to put in every single hour necessary to do an excellent job. In simple terms, I love Pitt Meadows. I'm incredibly proud of having been able to contribute to the quality of life in our city over the last 10 years that I've been on council and on committees. I've never been afraid of hard work, and my goal is to be the best mayor that this city has ever seen. In the past months, I've spoken to hundreds of people about their expectations for the new mayor. What has come through loud and clear is that you are demanding that our next mayor have the competence to manage a $1 million a year business, which is the city of Pitt Meadows. The choice to be made in the mayor's race is of the most competent person, not the one that has the most free time. In the last 31 years, I've raised my family and built my law practice here in Pitt Meadows. For the last 31 years, I've developed my skills as a negotiator, as an advocate, and a project manager, working with other professionals with millions of dollars on the line. I'm very familiar with municipal legislation, land use, finances, and strategic planning. For the last 3 decades, I've been a community volunteer. Community volunteerism can take many forms. It's not limited to flipping hamburgers, although I've done my share of that. I support dozens of organizations within our greater community with sponsorship and donating my time to assist them in creating, managing, or restructuring their organizations. This is the kind of proven leadership that the job of mayor requires. My priorities are your priorities. First and foremost, our residents need to know that City Council cares about their tax dollars. As mayor, I would implement a 0 increase in taxes budget process. Each year, staff would have to bring forward a preliminary budget that has a 0 increase in taxes. Council and all of you would see what 0 means by way of potential cuts to programs and services, if that's suggested. Only then would we look at any tax increases. On the program side, I would focus on traffic congestion and public transit improvements, economic development, and maintaining a safe and livable community. There's a quote from Henry Ford that I like. He said, "Reputation is what you've done, not what you say you're going to do." I have built a 30-year reputation of commitment and performance. On November 19th, I ask that you give me your vote and a chance to dedicate that experience to the job of mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Gary Poller, and I'm running for mayor in Pitt Meadows as well. And I want to thank all you people for showing up. It just shows the interest that is in Pitt Meadows. And let me say a little bit about myself. I've been a hardworking individual for many years, and I'm talking many years. And I don't like the waste of money that's been going on here. That's why I chose the position of running for mayor. I think as a person that's written a lot of statements. I'm sorry, I didn't bring my thing with me, but I love this community too. I moved here 14 years ago on November the 1st, and it's an interesting community. It's a lot of mixed opinions here. There's a lot of farmland. There's a lot of downtown commercial property and stuff like that. And I think that we're choking our people out of here with the way our taxes and whatnot have gone. But I don't want to take a lot of time. I want to say a lot of things. I'm sorry I didn't bring a speech with me. I've been married for 40 years. I've run businesses up to $200 million. I've had a very successful business. I've always been in the black. I devote 100% of my time, not 110, there's no such thing. I devote 100% of my time to the cause that I believe in. And being in the fire department for a number of years, and also being in the movie industry for a number of years, I can tell you that I've had my share of workload and stress. And I believe that the people of this community need to be relieved of some of that. And if that means us all sitting in a room working together, I can work with a lot of people in a room. I've worked with over 50, 60 people in a room, all coming to the same conclusion. And I think that's what Pitt Meadows needs. I love it here. I think we have some of the best benefits in the world in Pitt Meadows, and I don't like to see that start collapsing around us by the fact that people don't seem to take the attitude of it's our money, not theirs. I don't like watching the waste going on. I don't like to see the elderly people in this community having to dig deeper in their pockets, not being able to find the dollars that's needed to carry on and stay in this community. I don't like the fact that the younger generation is not getting out to be scouts and guides and have hockey and the rest of that because the parents that have those children have decided that they can't afford to do that. I come through that. I come through the 18.5% mortgage. I came through the time of hard times when we didn't have spare money in our pockets, so I understand. And I think that we do need a full-time mayor here, but I also think we need a mayor that understands a lot of the different jobs that are going on within this community. And I have worked on every job imaginable in my business in the effects department and also in the fire department where issues came up all the time. And I see a red light, so I have to stop. Thank you very much. I'm sorry.
Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, and fellow candidates, good evening. My name is Deb Walters, and I am running for mayor. I have been proud to call Pitt Meadows our home for the past 16 years. It has been a wonderful place to raise our 2 children. Some of my work experience includes management in catering and retail. I've worked for School District 42, Ministry of Tourism, and appraisal for the BC Forest Service. I've completed post-secondary education in accounting, marketing, communication, management, and leadership, just to name a few. I hold certificates in the hospitality and tourism and local government leadership. But most important, I've represented you on council for the past 6 years. I have volunteered alongside many of you here this evening in various clubs and organizations, and I was honored to be named Pitt Meadows Citizen of the Year in 2005. We have a great community, and positive things are happening. And taking advantage of grants and partnerships has been the right thing to do. And because of that, we've celebrated many successes during my tenure. As Pitt Meadows continues to grow, we need to make sure Council stays focused on the visions laid out in our strategic plan, while maintaining its wonderful charm that we're so proud of. And some of those key focus areas need to be fiscal responsibility. With a budget of $26.1 million, we need to be transparent and responsible. We need to pay down our debt and look at innovative ways to provide the facilities and services that our citizens demand. We need to be accountable and sustainable. Transportation. We need to look at logical ways to move regional traffic through our community with minimal financial impact on our taxpayers. We need to work with TransLink to secure a reliable transit system that our residents can depend on long into the future. development. It needs to be done right and not rushed. We need to continue to encourage business development that will provide jobs so our residents can work close to home and help balance our tax base. Natural environment. I encourage and support green initiatives. I recognize the need that we need to find sustainable solutions to reduce our solid waste and our carbon footprint, and I will continue to support and protect agriculture in our community. And finally, communication. I welcome your input and I listen to your concerns. I am dedicated to the job and I'm working for your family. Pitt Meadows is a growing city and our citizens expect and deserve a full-time mayor. On November the 19th, elect me, Deb Walters, to be your mayor. Thank you.
I have a question. Two of the mayor's candidates said that they can work full-time on the job. The third one didn't say anything, and I would like to ask them to be more specific. Are they quitting their jobs now? Are they dedicating their time to the mayoral work?
Yes, I'm retired, and I've chosen to get back into this area of mayor, and I think it devote 100% of our time. It needs to be out on the road, and I don't have another job, and it's because this job will be my full-time job. What's that?
Stand up, please. We can't see that.
How's that? Hey, I don't need the microphone, then I'll speak up. I plan on making this a full-time job, and I believe it needs to be a full-time job. There's no more areas of this city, the way it's sitting and being situated today, where we can run this as a part-time job. It deserves to be a full-time job and have 100% of our attention. Is that? Thank you.
I've spent 31 years building a business. I have 20 people that depend on my business to put food on their families' tables. I'm not going to apologize for having a successful business here in Pitt Meadows. What I've done since Mayor McLean said he wasn't going to run again, I have reorganized my life at home and at work to make sure that I can commit 100% to do this job. This isn't a contest between who's the most unemployed. It's a contest between who is the most competent. I've hired more lawyers, I've promoted my staff, and I am ready to commit to the job 100%. I'm not going to burn down my office and put everyone out of work to convince whomever that I am not competent for the job. I'm there, Becker is better, and I'm here for you. Thank you.
When I became a councillor, I cleared my slate and gave up all my work so that I could be available. I was fortunate enough that my husband does work for the City of Langley, so I was able to stay at home and be available to be a full-time councillor, and I do plan on continuing to be a full-time mayor as well and being accessible to all of you. Thank you. You know, it's a funny thing, door knocking. I would say every other door I knocked on, people asked about the swimming pool. However, those people said they didn't want their taxes going up as well. One of the things we have to look at when I said about innovative ways to providing facilities and services that our citizens demand is we do have land set aside for a swimming pool. That is the vision for the future. However, perhaps maybe we can look at partnerships, someone who could come in, an operator who would build it and operate it and provide us with a facility. We have to look at partnerships and what will be the best way to benefit our taxpayers so that we can afford a pool in our community. Also, a swimming pool is a big ticket item. That's something that you guys all have to be part of the decision-making process in. Thank you.
With respect to a pool, I'm really not convinced that a 3P is the best way to go. I think the jury is clearly out as to whether the 3P is the best way to run public facilities. With respect to the pool, I'm on record as saying that the cost of a pool is so significant as I would put it on a referendum for the next municipal election. I'm also, subject to discussion with the community, thinking that we need a special majority in order to pass it, roughly 2/3 majority. I would disclose the full cost of the pool and cost it out on the basis of every $100,000 of assessment. So if you have a $500,000 home and it's going to cost you $50 for $100,000, you're going to know every year it's going to say pool, $250,000. You'll get to know the numbers, you'll know exactly what you're voting for, and you will have a say, and I will listen to what you say.
I have a position on the pool, and the position is we should have had a pool here 20 years ago. But I also have the position that we should have been saving money for a number of years to provide this pool for the people here. And it seems to be a touchy issue with a lot of doors that I've knocked on, where everybody's they're mad about the ice arena, and they're upset about not having a pool. And I know we have to weigh the odds of what we can afford in this community, and I don't like to see anybody's taxes go up, but I also understand this. When I was in hard times, if we wanted a TV, we had to save the money till we could afford to have that TV. So can we have a pool? Yeah, we can have a pool, but we need to save the money and make sure that it's not coming out of our pockets that are already been pulled tight. Thank you.
This will be our first written submitted question to the candidates. What relevant experience, results, and examples that you have that demonstrate the knowledge, skills, and qualities required for the role?
All right, I've been working in essentially local government for 31 years practicing law. I've dealt with land development, strategic planning, financing of projects. I've dealt with many different governments across the province and across the country. This is not a stretch for me moving into the mayor's position. I listen to people for a living as a lawyer. Well over 10,000 clients come to me for problem solving and resolution of what they need done in their lives. There has to be a budget for it, there has to be compassion. My job is listening to people to make things happen for them. I understand complex pieces of legislation. I understand how the province works, and I understand how the legislation affects Pitt Meadows. I've built relationships with senior government officers that I use to Pitt Meadows' advantage to help secure funding for the turf field and Spirit Park. I'm a mayor for all people. I've received awards from the BC Liberal Party and recently received an endorsement from a local union. The fact remains that you have to have skills, you have to have experience, and this is not a job for anyone that doesn't know what they're doing.
Anyway, yes. What's my background? My background is fire department. My background is truck driver. My background is construction worker, electrician, problem solver. These are all the jobs that I've had throughout my lives, and they've served me well. Do I have experience in a lot of things? You betcha. Can I handle this job? You betcha. And can I handle it well? Yes. I can handle this job very well. And when you start to go out and you start looking at the amount of things that have been over budget in this community, I have to say, why are they over budget? I've spent a lot of time doing budgets, and my budgets are not allowed to go over. But I also understand what needs to be done when it comes that time, and I don't understand where the downfall has been in this community and why we're in debt so bad. If somebody was truly interested in making this job a full-time job and making sure that our budgets are adhered to and that the people, why are we going over budget? I don't know why we're going over budget because I haven't been part of that process, but I know I can clean it up.
Thank you. That is a good question. I am approachable, responsible, and reliable, and I have good common sense. And I think that this job is about that. We have to remember that being a mayor, you're only one of 7 people. You have to be able to work with those people and hopefully guide them in the right direction, but everyone is free to think the way they want to think. We can come up with all these grandiose ideas as a mayor, but unless everyone at the table isn't agreeing, it's not going anywhere. I've chaired the Pitt Meadows Day Society, Pitt Meadows Secondary Dry Grads, all sorts of organizations and clubs. And I've taken many courses in the past 6 years, and like I said earlier, I did earn my local government leadership, which has given me a lot of guidance on how to do the job. I'm confident that I have the ability to do it, and I think that I will make you all very proud. Thank you.
So this will be our last written question to candidates for mayor. What is your position on the lands east of Harris Road and west of Osprey, also known as Cardiff Farm? I think it's just the area right over here. Commercial, residential, your thoughts?
My position on the Cardiff land, well, we don't like to lose farmland, and I've heard that a number of times in this community, and I live on the north side, so I know how passionate they are about losing their farmland. But we also need to have a commercial base here, and we also need to have a really balanced base between commercial and residential. The commercial end of the business pays for the good things that we'd like to have in Pitt Meadows, and our house taxes go to pay a lot of the infrastructure that we have here. So understanding what the Cardiff Farm could be to this community as far as commercial, I think it's great, and I think we need to bring more business into this community so that we don't have to pocket the funds so much. Thank you.
That land, that one parcel that we're talking about is zoned industrial. However, since the trees have come down, I've kind of had a chance to relook at it, but we need to balance our tax base, and that's something that's very important to us. If that doesn't stay industrial, then we have to look at other options. What kind of facilities can we gain for our citizens that would balance the tax base? It's really important that we have these last two parcels, the one on Cardiff Farms and the one of north of Lougheed. And like I said, it has to be done right. There has to be a lot of decisions around that, a lot of thought given to it, and we can't rush it. We really need to do it right. Thank you.
In fact, the property is not zoned industrial, it's zoned agriculture. The OCP designates it as business park. I was part of that whole decision-making process over the last 10 years. My voting record clearly indicates that I am the most reluctant of all councillors over the last 10 years at pulling land out of the ALR. Unfortunately, this land is within the urban boundary, and as my colleagues have said, we need to improve the commercial tax base. The business park footprint on that Cardiff property could generate approximately $3 million a year in property taxes. So I support the continued OCP designation as business park. It is also now in the regional growth strategy, the Metro Vancouver official community plan, designated as industrial. Any removal of that land from the industrial base in Metro Vancouver will require discussions with the Metro Vancouver board. I think I'm consistent with my two colleagues that none of us support that because of the need to improve the commercial tax base here in Pitt Meadows.
So we're ready for final statements. Ms. Walters, you're up first.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, I don't know if he's here this evening, but I would like to take this opportunity to publicly thank Mayor Don McLean for his 21 years of service to the City of Pitt Meadows. It is because of his commitment to the job that we live in one of the finest cities in all of Canada. I would like to thank each of you for coming out this evening. I'm running for mayor to represent you and your voices on council. A community is more than just a business. I want our mayor's office to be open and accessible. I want Pitt Meadows to remain a safe, healthy, and prosperous community. I am up to the task and ready to work for you. Pitt Meadows is a growing city. Our citizens expect and deserve a full-time mayor. On November 19th, vote Deb Walters to be your mayor. Thank you.
I'd also like to say thank you, people, for coming out. And I think it's very important that a number of people get out to vote. And I, like Deb and Mr. Becker, want to be a full-time mayor here. But I also want to have a transparent government where if you've got a problem, I want to hear about it. I don't want to be the last one to hear about it. And everybody says that, you know, oh, the mayor is the first one to get kicked. And I understand that, and I think Don McLean can understand that too. He's been kicked a number of times, a few of them by me. But I think we need a transparent government. I think we need a government here that understands, and I think we need to have people that actually care and are concerned about our community and where we're going to take this community. I've lived here, like I said, for 14 years. I've run a successful business in the black for over 35 years. So I know how to run a business, and I know how to be with people, and I know how to sit in a room and make sure that we get things done, because that's what it's going to take. It's going to take cohesion on the part of all of us to sit in a room and make sure that what we do is in the best interest of the people of Pitt Meadows. Thank you.
You know, if this community isn't run like a business, we're going to sink into debt and disarray. I've spent many years on boards, most recently the Board of Governors of Metteridge Independent School. It's an $8 million a year business. It's a nonprofit organization. It is very close to our children, but it has to be run like a business. We have to begin our discussions in a business-like fashion. The province today came out with an article that said voters should treat candidates like job hopefuls. We should apply for a job. The speech I wrote last week said the 3 candidates are submitting resumes to you, our 18,000 employers. As an employer myself, I always create what I call a reality checklist. A reality checklist sends out the core skills I need for my prospective position, strips away the irrelevant details, and then compares the candidates. You need to compare the qualifications and experience for the applicants for your mayor's job. So let's compare them. What should the mayor's reality checklist include? How about City Hall experience? Makes sense to me. One of my opponents has 0 experience with City Hall function. My other opponent has 2 terms on City Council. I have 10 years at City Hall with my committee work. How about relevant business or even work experience? Again, there's no relevant business or work experience being presented to you tonight except from myself. I have an intimate familiarity with the processes critical to maintaining a functional City Hall. I'm there to listen to the concerns and the needs of the citizens. But as someone that's watching your tax dollars, while I will listen to everyone, sometimes the answer will be no. The mayor's chair does not come with a trainee hat. You need to have someone in there that knows what they're doing. I have the experience and skills. I ask the chance to serve and for your vote for mayor on November 19th. Thank you.
So I'd like to start with the opening statements of the council candidates. Theirs are a little bit shorter. They have about 2 minutes to let you know what it is that they're doing in Pitt Meadows. So we're going to start out with Mr. Bell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, good evening. My name is Bruce Bell, and I'm seeking re-election for the position of councillor in the City of Pitt Meadows. I've lived in Pitt Meadows for the past 32 years. Raising our family in Pitt Meadows has been a rewarding experience. Our 2 grown children continue to live in Pitt Meadows. This year, my wife Judy and I became grandparents. Taylor and Tasha, twin girls, are now 6 months old and doing well, living in Pitt Meadows. There have been many council accomplishments over the past 3 years. The purchase of our 3 ice rinks and the renovation to make them safe and usable was a big project. The ice rinks represent the city's largest asset, with appraisal estimates exceeding $20 million. A new all-weather turf field was constructed at Pitt Meadows Secondary School. This was a joint project between School District 42, the Pitt Meadows Soccer Club, the City of Pitt Meadows. A $1 million federal grant was also secured for this project. A new library at Harrison Ford Road is well under construction and set to open in the first quarter of the new year. Currently under construction at Harris Road Park is the new youth skateboard surface, with opening of that this coming Sunday. Bonson Community Center has been completed and opened its doors in September this year. Wow, is this ever a beautiful facility. A new seniors home in Pitt Meadows is under construction and set to open for business in 2012. Spirit Square and the Lougheed Highway Sound Wall are 2 other examples of completed projects. Also, the family outdoor swimming pool was refurbished and now will provide many more years of fun and enjoyment for families. I would like to continue to be part of Pitt Meadows Council. I believe that I possess a sound understanding of day-to-day operations of the city. I have developed knowledge pertaining to the community charter and the role of the region. In addition, I've had experience with budget and tax implications, confidentiality issues, and priority setting. I understand the importance of collaboration and working towards a common goal. The many achievements over the past 3 years have been attained by working together and keeping the needs of the City of Pitt Meadows and the residents in the forefront. With my knowledge and 3 years' experience on council, I'm ready, willing, and able to continue serving the residents of Pitt Meadows. On November the 19th, ring the bell. Bruce Bell for council.
Madam Chairman, fellow candidates, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening and welcome. Thank you all for coming. I am Councillor Doug Bing, and I am running for re-election to City Council. First of all, I'd like to recognize a very special person in the life of our community who is retiring this year. This person moved to BC from Ontario 40 years ago. He took his time, but he eventually discovered Pitt Meadows, and he fell in love with her and has been here for 3 decades. He was elected to council on his first try in 1990. He stayed for 21 years, serving as a councillor for 9 years and 12 years as mayor. Please help me thank Don McLean for 21 years of outstanding service to the City of Pitt Meadows. Next, I would like to answer a few questions that I've been asked by residents of our community. Surprisingly, the top question I get asked isn't about taxes, a swimming pool, or an overpass over the railway tracks. The question I get asked the most is, why did you drop out of the mayor's race? Usually I smile, look people in the eyes, and I tell them, because I came to my senses. After they stop laughing, the second question they ask me is, why should we re-elect you to council? I usually tell them that I've lived and worked in Pitt Meadows for 32 years. I've been on council for 6 years. Pitt Meadows is my home, which gives me a vested interest in making it a better place to live and work. But the main reason to re-elect me can be summed up in 3 words: trust, leadership, and experience. I ask for your support on November 19th.
Good evening. I'm George Coughlin, and I live in the Shoreline Strata just next door. First, let me thank the Pitt Meadows Community Association and the Chamber of Commerce for hosting this meeting. And thank all of you for coming. I mean, just look at you. This is incredible. I retired from a long career in the insurance industry, before which I was a police officer. I have no political affiliations whatsoever, and I'm able to devote myself full-time to promoting your interests. When I arrived in Pitt Meadows, I was inspired not only by the beauty of the city, but also, more importantly, by the community of Pitt Meadows itself. I've always been involved with charitable or community activities, so among other things, I joined the Pitt Meadows Day Society, of which I'm in my 2nd year as president, to help foster our spirit of togetherness. Isn't it a blessing to live in a city where people still know each other? Where neighbors interact in what still feels like a small town? You can't put a dollar figure on these things, but they are very valuable nevertheless and must be preserved. And building community spirit doesn't cost much. A little money goes a very long way. If elected, I will work to develop the people side of Pitt Meadows, not just the infrastructure. Most people like Pitt Meadows just the way it is. But our population is increasing, and we face development pressures as building land becomes scarcer. Council must control development to preserve the farmland which gives Pitt Meadows its special character, while still encouraging the business community. We also need better transit services and improved traffic flow. Yes, Pitt Meadows is a wonderful place to live, but it will take work to keep it that way. Most people's biggest concern is rising property taxes. Our debt has greatly increased, and we must keep taxes down. Government must be accountable to the people. It is your money being spent. I ask you to cast your vote for me, George Coughlin, on November the 19th, and thank you all for coming.
This is really exciting, and I'm thrilled to be part of this. As a proud 27-year resident of Pitt Meadows, I have immersed myself in my community, contributing wherever possible. I have always advocated for youth and have been the Maple Ridge Pitt Meadows Youth Center Society Treasurer for the past 8 years. On October 15th, I was honored with a U-Rock Award in recognition of my contribution to the lives of children and youth in our community. Haney Rotary has also honored me with a Paul Harris Fellow Award for many hours of volunteering for them. My current role with the nonprofit North Fraser Therapeutic Riding Association, coupled with working for the Vancouver School Board and Hammond Cedar, has provided me with experience in the areas of business and budget planning, labor relations, and communications. With strong interpersonal skills and knowledge of governance structures, I have the ability to carry out council's work. My top priority upon being elected to council will be familiarizing myself with the current community issues, business planning process, and practices and procedures specific to my role. I will be diligent in advocating for responsibly increasing the commercial and business activities reflective of the vision and values of Pitt Meadows citizens. My community involvement has educated me on the importance of our long-standing relationship with Maple Ridge. We currently share services in schools, policing, recreation, and health care. I believe that strong relationships must be maintained with both our provincial and federal partners to ensure that our fair share of funding from each level is achieved and enhanced. Continual exploration of the issues that are important to the citizens of my community and taking every opportunity to educate myself on them will be my priority throughout the term. On November 19th, vote KCON for council. Thank you so much.
Well, good evening. I'm impressed with Pitt Meadows, but this what makes it so special here is that we are all involved in our community. So good evening to everyone. I want to thank Pitt Meadows Community Association and the Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event. Pitt Meadows is at a turning point. With our current mayor leaving and 2 members of council vying for that position, there will be a loss of at least 27 years of experience on council. I am seeking a return to the council table with 14 years of dedicated service to our city. Pitt Meadows is unique in the Lower Mainland, and I'm proud of that. When I was on council, we resisted the urge for urban sprawl. Instead, the focus was on economic development and attracting business to our city. This brought in the new mall, commercial development here in South Bonson, diverse opportunities for business on Harris Road, and the planning for the Golden Ears Industrial Park. But the residential class still comprises over 86% of our tax base in Pitt Meadows. We need to attract more business to ensure a sustainable community and jobs for all our citizens. Improvements in transportation are a must. The Golden Ears and Pitt River Bridges have brought new opportunities for Pitt Meadows, but they've also added to the gridlock in Harris and Lougheed. This intersection is already failing according to Ministry of Transport guidelines. Council needs to press senior levels of government to fund an overpass. We also need improved transportation alternatives. Expansion of the West Coast Express service and our bus service are essential. Affordable recreational opportunities are important for the health of our community. Joint recreation with Maple Ridge and our school board, plus participation in Metro Vancouver parks, provides diverse opportunities at a reasonable cost. Pitt Meadows needs strong, experienced leaders that have a proven track record of working hard and getting results. I have that track record at all levels of municipal government. Elect Janice Elkerton on November 19th, and I will continue to work hard and passionately to promote Pitt Meadows. Thank you.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and I saw some boys and girls over there too, so good evening to them as well. I would like to begin by first thanking you for coming out this evening, despite the rain, in support of our wonderful community of Pitt Meadows. For those of you for whom I have not yet had the pleasure of meeting, my name is Michael Hayes, and I am running for City Council of Pitt Meadows. Pitt Meadows has been my home for over 34 years, and for 20 of those years, I have been proudly giving back to our community as an active member. As president of the Pitt Meadows Community Foundation, chair of the Pitt Meadows Citizen of the Year Selection Committee, past chair of the Pitt Meadows Save the Spirit Eagle Fundraising Committee, co-chair with the Pitt Meadows Christmas Festival, formerly known as Christmas in the City. And may I add, this, by the way, will be held on December 2nd in Pitt Meadows Spirit Square from 6 to 8 p.m. I thought I'd get that one in there. I am a member of the Community Foundations of Canada, member of the Canadian Administrators of Volunteer Resources and the Administrators of Volunteer Resources of British Columbia, member of the Community Festival Network, the Pitt Meadows Leadership Committee, longtime participant of the Pitt Meadows Remembrance Day and Canada Day ceremonies, participant of the Pitt Meadows Day Parade and ceremonies. There is an end to this. Past member of Katimavik National Youth Learning Program. And finally, I was blessed to have been selected to carry the Vancouver 2010 Olympic torch into our Spirit Square. Pitt Meadows has reached a critical time in our planning and development. We must provide good government, a strong, healthy community, and greater accountability to the taxpayer. Citizens, council, and staff of Pitt Meadows must be responsible and work together to protect and sustain the value of our community. By continuing to build a sustainable legacy and equally share in creating a brighter future for our children. I'd like to say my name is Michael Hayes, and I'm being pushed off the podium, and I ask for your support for City Council. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Rick Krakowitz. My family and I have lived in Pitt Meadows for 8 years. It's a great community. I want to do everything I possibly can to ensure its future growth and prosperity. That's why I'm running for Pitt Meadows City Council. I'm a certified management accountant with over 20 years of senior management experience in the finance industry and a proven track record of success. Currently the Assistant Vice President and Controller for People's Trust, and I've also held senior level positions with credit unions in the Fraser Valley and Okanagan regions of BC. I will be able to provide proactive leadership and sound, rational decision-making along with my budget and finance expertise. Now, I support a balanced approach to municipal governments, one that focuses on fiscal responsibility. We need to eliminate wasteful spending, budget wisely, and develop a plan to stabilize and control our taxes. We need to provide quality services that meet the current and future needs of the community. And finally, we need a plan for sustainable growth, one that will move us forward in a responsible and progressive manner. Now that sounds great, but how do you do it? Well, first thing we have to do is change the way we do our strategic planning. We need to identify and prioritize our initiatives and objectives. Then we look at them in terms of, are they financially responsible? Do they meet the needs of the community? And what do they do in terms of our long-term goals and overall sustainability? Next, we set performance standards such as cost, usage, return on investment, and measure them. You have to measure everything, because if you can't measure it, you can't evaluate it. And if you can't evaluate it, you don't know how well you're doing. And if you don't know how well you're doing, you could get more tax increases. We have to take the same approach with existing projects and facilities. They must meet minimum performance standards. We restructure, we retool, cut costs, or look at alternative ways to make them viable. We can't keep throwing money away at problems and hope they'll go away, because they won't. We have to work smart, we have to work hard, and we have to stop picking the fruit from the low branches of the tree. We can't afford to do that. On November 19th, make the right choice and vote for Rick Krakowitz. And yeah, that's the guy with the long name.
Good evening, and thank you all for coming out tonight. I want to acknowledge that we are on the traditional territory of Katzie First Nation people, and I want to honor my fellow candidates that are running tonight, because it really shows your commitment to this community. I have lived, worked, and volunteered in Pitt Meadows for the last 14 years. I've worked with many community groups and volunteers. We have an awesome community. And what makes this place so special is the people, the community pride, and the natural environment. My approach on council has been to listen and to work with residents and our staff to tackle our strategic priorities. I'm running for a second term on council because I truly care about this community. We have accomplished a lot as a city, but there's lots of work to be done still. Transportation improvements have provided relief, but we still need an interchange, and we need relief on Old Dewdney. And obviously we need to improve parking down here too. Yes, community safety has really improved. We used to hear a lot from residents that they felt that there was a lack of a police presence here in Pitt Meadows. So we listened, the RCMP responded, and our last survey indicated that 92% of you feel safe in Pitt Meadows, which is great. We need to allocate appropriate resources to police and fire as we grow so that citizens continue to feel safe. We have a lot to do in the area of solid waste if we are to meet the region's goal of 70% diversion by 2015 and our goal of a 32% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions by 2018. And even though we are the third lowest taxes in the region, taxes continue to be a concern for people, and we don't want major increases. So we have to keep taxes manageable for people so that we can maintain our current service levels, pay down our debt, and build up reserves for the future. I believe we need a creative approach to funding capital assets and need to involve residents in decision-making for large capital investments. Quality of life is important to me and my family, and it's important to you. I am committed to listening and working with you to make Pitt Meadows a great place to live.
Good evening. Hello, my name is David Murray, and I'm running for City Council in Pitt Meadows. I'm running for council because I want to give back to the community that has given so much to me and my family. Pitt Meadows is the best city in British Columbia to live in, and I want to do everything I can to ensure it stays that way. What do I believe in? I believe in strong, responsible growth that supports a complete community and preserves the best of Pitt Meadows. I have already engaged with thousands of Pitt Meadows residents and have listened to what's on their mind. Issues like improved transit, less traffic. I am prepared to work with all levels of government to secure improvements to our transportation infrastructure. I believe in offering better choices that tackle congestion by offering better road access throughout our city. I will make sure we have a strong commitment to public safety by supporting policies that will ensure residents, business owners, and visitors that they will feel safe and secure in our community. I want all Pitt Meadows citizens to be able to engage in active, healthy lifestyles and be part of a vibrant community. Being able to work, live, and play in our own community and being able to spend quality time with your family has to be considered a priority. We must not engage in urban sprawl. We must build up and not out. And while creating sustainability is crucial, we cannot jeopardize the agricultural land reserve. We must ensure we keep this treasure for future generations to come. In closing, I would like to thank you all for giving me an opportunity to talk about concerns that I know that are not only important to me, but important to all Pitt Meadows citizens. If trusted with your vote, I will always remain approachable, always listen, and always try to fulfill my duties as a council member with the knowledge of knowing that I represent Pitt Meadows citizens everywhere that I go. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. Fellow candidates, Pitt Meadows Community Association, Chamber of Commerce, and all of you, most importantly, the citizens of Pitt Meadows. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to tell you a little about myself and why I am once again seeking your support to the position of councillor for the city of Pitt Meadows. I am married to Paul, and we have lived here for over 35 years. We now have one son and 5 grandchildren who range in ages from 4 to 17. We've seen many changes in the community since we moved here, from a population of 4,500 people to the 17,000 plus that we have here today. Through the years, there have been many ups and downs, but the one thing that has always been a constant for me and my family is the feeling of community that we have here. I still feel the love and the passion I felt when we first decided as a family to live and raise our children here. My husband actually worked in the sawmill that used to stand on this area that we are sitting in tonight, and my dad actually designed and was involved in the building and the operation of the mill. We're all very frustrated with the traffic issues, and we could all go on and on for hours about it. We need to put some pressure on upper levels of government to do something about the intersection of Harris and Lougheed. And I have strong faith that that's going to happen in the near future. Not 20 years from now, it's got to happen before that. Our cap on population will be 22,000 people, but the cap on the other communities to the east is a lot more, and that's what we're going to have to put the pressure on the upper levels of government about. We are slowly moving towards a complete community, and with a balanced council, we will continue to move in a positive direction. I'm a proud team member, and I have loyalty to the city. Through the years, I have learned to really listen and not just give lip service, but to research and find out why things are done the way they are. I am running for people young to old, and I am someone who is always available. Go with the winner. Big G, little go. Go for Gwen O'Connell on November 19th. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Charm Prophet, and I'm seeking your support on November 19th for City Council Pitt Meadows. Myself and my husband, Carl, have raised our 3 children in this amazing city for the last 5 years, and we're extremely proud parents of their involvement in their community. I currently own and operate my own successful business in this city. I began my company with the intention to provide security products and solutions for my clients. In my day-to-day operations, I interact with multiple levels of business, commercial, and government officials. Prior to this, in 1998, I began a career as a corrections officer at one of the toughest jails in the Lower Mainland, Vancouver Jail. And during my door knocking these past few weeks, I've met some great residents of Pitt Meadows. There was no shortage of concerns raised, of course, but to start, the number one I feel most important was residents feel disengaged from City Council. It's my commitment to be a strong advocate for Pitt Meadows and improve our communications with our residents and our businesses in this community. I feel City Council needs to build better relationships and businesses and residents to move forward with this city. As a mother and a business owner, I understand what it means to work hard and make ends meet. I believe City Council must be fiscally responsible and look for better ways to reduce costs without hurting our service levels. Unreasonable tax increases are a huge concern with residents in Pitt Meadows, but we need to be aggressive on capping our property taxes at a provincial rate of inflation. Pitt Meadows is a fast-growing city that requires improved and reliable transit services and infrastructure to keep this city and its busy people moving. TransLink is currently reviewing our area transit plan in hopes that we'll have some information shortly. I know that the quality of life in this community plays an important role in attracting business. In conjunction with Maple Ridge, Pitt Meadows was voted number 5 investment community in Canada. We need to continue to promote community prosperity and sustainability. It's vital that City Council have an aggressive economic development strategy plan. I'm very passionate about my commitment to reducing our carbon footprint. I'd like to see improvements to our recycling and our composting programs and reduce our overall waste in this city. Educating our citizens and having innovative solutions will play a vital role in achieving this goal. It's my commitment to keep Pitt Meadows safe, green, and sustainable. Thank you.
Madam Chair, fellow taxpayers, I've lived in Pitt Meadows for 26 years. Raised a family here, and now we have 5 grandchildren that are attending schools here and enjoying the facilities. If someone would have asked me 3 years ago that I'd be running for City Council, I would have thought they were somewhere on another planet. I wouldn't have believed it. And I'm not going to take up any more of your time this evening prioritizing the issues or telling you what I think the possible solutions are to the challenges of a growing city. My fellow candidates have done a fine job of that, and I agree with what most they say. The fact is, all of these issues will come before Council in due time and will be discussed thoroughly. So why would you vote for me? For the past 3.5 years, our neighborhood noise, drainage, and environmental issues regarding the Golden Ears Bridge project has given me the opportunity to engage with our 3 levels of government, local tax-paying residents, TransLink, and the media. And I have learned, 1, to cultivate patience because things move at glacial speed at all levels of government. 2, to understand the process and the issues by attending council, and especially council and committee meetings. And I've attended the majority over the last 1.5 years. 3, to listen carefully to residents' concerns. You may learn something of value. 4, to do comprehensive research to support your position. And 5, to be factual and honest with the media. I will use these skills, as well as years of business experience in the international market, to be your voice on Pitt Meadows Council. This isn't about me. This is about you.
So next is sort of the questions being addressed to the candidate, and the first question is actually going to come from the floor, and the rest of the questions are written questions that were submitted by you in the audience this evening.
I work full-time at my dental practice, but most dentists don't work more than 4 days a week. So some people might call that part-time. I also put in 20, 25 hours a week as a city councilor. So you could call one my day job and one my evening job. But I am a full-time employee for sure. I don't think you'll have any question about that. Thank you.
Mr. Coughlin?
Hello. Well, I'm retired and have been for several years since before I came to Pitt Meadows. However, I do a lot of voluntary work. I'm the president of the Pitt Meadows Day Society, and I'm the lead organizer for the Pitt Meadows Day Parade. In the early part of the year, that takes up a great deal of time. Until recently, I was also vice president of my Strata Corporation, but I did not stand for election at the last annual general meeting, so I could run for Pitt Meadows Council. So basically, I've got a great deal of time to commit to the city of Pitt Meadows as a councillor.
Ms. Khan?
I'm currently very proud to be... I'm currently very proud to be the program coordinator for North Fraser Therapeutic Riding. We offer therapeutic horseback riding to disabled adults and children. However, I do work half-time, and I have the flexibility, as I have a job share partner, to adjust my days as necessary. So I am very passionate about the work that we do at North Fraser Therapeutic, as I will be at City Hall.
Ms. Elkerton?
Thank you. I believe council deserves almost a full-time position when you're a councillor if you're going to get really involved in the community and other levels of government. The fact is that meetings come up on short notice. You have to be able to attend them, and that's how senior levels of government actually begin to listen to you and trust you when you're going to say something and you're going to follow through. I own a business, a commercial building in Coquitlam, and I've got a good tenant, my husband, another dentist that considers 4 days a week a full-time job. So I help him a bit there, but mostly my job duties will be as councillor.
Mr. Hayes?
I'm a part-time software analyst working with business intelligence, and because my first love, volunteering for the community. I love this community. After 34 years, it's all I can think about. My kids are all grown up, so it's just me. And so this council position becomes a full-time position for me, and along with my other responsibilities working as a volunteer through the community. Thank you.
Mr. Kreklowitz?
It's heavy. Hey, I do have a full-time job, but I'll ensure that I put together the time to serve the residents and the businesses of Pitt Meadows. You know, I work hard, I work smart, and I'm very goal-oriented and focused, and I'll get things done the right way. My kids are all grown up, so I've got a lot more time too, so that'll definitely help. Thank you.
Ms. Miashta?
Thank you. I currently work for Catesy First Nation as a health director, and my job is really flexible. I have a very supportive boss who's here tonight too, and I'm always available for the community. Thank you.
I work for the city of Port Coquitlam, but I also share that duty. I spend 40 hours a week. I spend a lot of my time going to other council meetings all across the Fraser Valley. As part of my responsibilities for my union is I go and I sit in and I listen to all the other different areas. I did that for many, many years, and I've done that for many years. I've coached basketball for 30 years. I don't know if anybody knows that or not, but I spent 10 years coaching college basketball and 20 years coaching high school basketball. My kids are now through their basketball career, and I do have some time now I can put towards trying to make Pitt Meadows even a better place. Thank you very much.
Ms. O'Connell?
I have a job in the community, a few jobs. I am the marketing and community coordinator for the new seniors residence in Pitt Meadows, which I'm extremely proud of. I fortunately have a very flexible boss, and I don't work full-time there. I do have a very liberal office at Starbucks, which most of you know. I attend every morning. So I do have the ability to listen, and I am dedicated to this community. If somebody gives me a call for help, no matter what it is, I'm there for them. So thank you.
Ms. Prophet?
As you all heard, I actually own my own business, but it's my baby's now 8 years old, and I've hired some phenomenal people to run my company, and they now tell me that it's time for me to do something else because they're doing such a great job. So I've let it go, and I've been working hard, and my kids are all teenagers now, so I'm just a full-time taxi driver, so I have a ton of work and a lot of time on my hands. So I'm definitely here for the residents of the community and want to be the voice and listen to what needs to be done in this city. Thank you.
Mr. Stark?
Okay. Everyone here? Hello? I'm retired. This will be my full-time job. I have actually a very cooperative boss, my wife, and she's allowed me to work full-time at this job actually over the past 2.5 years. For anyone who doesn't know what happens in a council, in the councilor's life, on Friday afternoon you pick up your package for council. Those packages can weigh anywhere from 6 ounces to 2.5 pounds. In the past 2 or 3 months, they've been very thick. It's like reading War and Peace on the weekend to get ready for the Tuesday night council meeting. So you really have to have the time to do this job, and I'm dedicated to doing that for the citizens of this city.
And all the way down to the other end, Mr. Bell.
Yes, thank you. Well, I have a full-time job and I have a part-time job. So my full-time job is Monday to Friday. My part-time job is for the city of Pitt Meadows. I've been on council, as you know, for the past 3 years, and it hasn't been an issue. The meetings are mostly at night, and I also have access at work to time off that I need for council I can take. So I have a very understanding boss as well. So it hasn't been a problem. I've even had time and a proud member of the Pitt Meadows Day Committee. So just not 2 jobs, but still time for the community that I love and enjoy.
The first 4 candidates to answer the first question will be Coughlin, Conn, Elkerton, and Hayes. And the first question that was written and submitted by the audience tonight is, what is your opinion of preserving agricultural lands, development versus big box versus keeping it as agricultural? Mr. Coughlin, you're up first.
Thank you. As you may have gathered from my opening speech, I'm a strong proponent of preserving agricultural land. I come from a country, from Wales, where we saw the problems with urban sprawl if it was allowed to continue. We've seen it in Greater Vancouver too. I don't want to see it in Pitt Meadows. I think we can develop our community. We can grow to projections which I understand are 22 to 25,000 people without gobbling up our farmland. As far as big box stores are concerned, they would be new to our community. I understand that on the North Lougheed Connector development, something may be necessary to make the development viable and to anchor it. But first and foremost, I think we should pay some attention to the requirements of the existing business community in Pitt Meadows. The business community down here at Osprey, for example, the business community on Harris Road, and the new shops and the new businesses along Ford Road just behind Harris Road. Those should be our first priority.
Ms. Conn?
Well, I don't think there's anyone up here that wants to see our agriculture disappear, and I certainly don't. There is the area of the North Connector that has been identified that will be developed in some way, and from what I've read, it will be mixed use, most likely, in order to support the transportation corridor that is required, and to financially be able to afford to put that in. As far as I know, there's no designs anywhere else to use our agricultural land, and I would not be in favor of doing that.
Ms. Elkerton.
Thank you. While I was on council, I was a strong preserver of agricultural land. I don't promote taking any other land out of the agriculture. I also think that we should be supporting our farmers to be able to farm the agriculture. It's not just great that we have the green space out there that everybody looks at as they walk on the dikes. We need to support our farmers, and one of the ways I've thought of doing it just temporarily is putting some stop signs down Denny Trunk to actually get the traffic to slow down so the farmers could actually get their vehicles out and farm in there. That would be a cost-efficient way to keep the traffic flow down and move it back onto the highway so that our farmers actually could get their job done. We have to look, when we look at regulations, what kind of impact it has on the farmers, and we have to make sure they're involved in the decision-making process. Because at the end of the day, we can have all the green space we want, but we don't have the agricultural land that's productive. It's not any good for our future. So I don't support putting any more land out of the agricultural land, and I agree with the previous speaker about focusing on business development in our town core and down here in South Bonson.
Mr. Hayes.
I don't believe that we actually protect our farmland. However, there are specific areas in our central community, downtown community, that also must look at. We need to grow. We need to look at various tax bases. But we must plan cautiously, and we must be critical to remain stringent about those ALR lands. I mean, it's our origin. It's where Pitt Meadows began. So, yeah, so hopefully that answers your question. Thank you.
So the next question will be answered by Mr. Kreklowitz, Ms. Miashta, Mr. Murray, and Ms. O'Connell. And the next question is, what do you plan to do about homelessness in our community? And have you ever spent a night out on the street with the homeless? Mr. Kreklowitz.
I think for the homelessness, we have to look at all various opportunities to develop low-cost housing and perhaps partnership up with other communities, Maple Ridge, in order to achieve this. And as far as spending, other than camping, I've been homeless, thankfully. Thanks.
Ms. Miashta.
That's okay. Homelessness is a concern. If anybody is homeless in our community or hungry, I'm going to throw that in there too. I care about those issues, and I would take a community-based approach, work with our community partners and residents on creating some solutions around that. I think everyone should have a meal, everybody should have a place to sleep at night in our community, so that is a big concern and that affects the health of our community. But I would like to work with them, with a group of partners on that issue. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's a great question. One of the things I really truly believe in, I think we need to have a national housing strategy. That national housing strategy right now is in the third reading. It's called the Libby Bill. And we need to look at this very seriously. What's happening right now, senior levels of government are downloading this problem onto municipalities.
these people out of town. Leslie seeks to get them help, etc. We have been very proactive in that. If there's people without a home, we find out why they're not home, why they're homeless in our community. We also, as a past director of the Friends in Need Food Bank, I can tell you we're feeding 650 people a month in this community. There is a number of people who, and not because they're not working and they don't choose to be poor. It's because both of them are making basic wages and they just can't keep going with their families. But I believe that this is a provincial government issue and we do not need any more downloading to our level of government. You think our taxes are high now? How high would they be if we took on that battle? So I think that as Pitt Meadows as a city, we're doing our job to take care of our community. I can't speak on Maple Ridge. We do not have the buildings or the infrastructure in place to support that type of environment. We've been very proactive in our community, trying to work with people and find out. And the last comment is, some people choose to live that way.
Okay, so we're on to our last question, and the candidates who will be answering this one are Ms. Prophet, Mr. Stark, and then we go way to the other end for Mr. Bell and Mr. Bing. How do you feel about increasing public art and raising the profile of art in Pitt Meadows? And please share with us if you have an art that you perform. So, Ms. Prophet, you're up first.
Well, first of all, we have a great arts program in Pitt Meadows in our partnership with Maple Ridge, and definitely we could to increase that and do better by probably improving a little more towards the Pitt Meadows side. Maple Ridge pretty much takes the cake, but we could definitely bring in some more. I know my daughter does the youth and arts program in Maple Ridge and through the leisure center, and our boys as well do a lot of the programs with skateboarding and some of the other arts. But I would like to see some more of that in our own community and not have to have, per se, our Pitt Meadows residents have to travel outside of the city and bring in a lot more of those programs here. Thank you.
Mr. Stark.
No? Can I answer two questions?
Well, both of them were addressed. But you only have 1 minute.
Okay, I have 1 minute. I'm married to an artist, so I don't think I have to expand on that. I totally support the arts. Do I have an art? I carve Lakota flutes, and I also play Lakota flutes. And the previous question, I have spent time under a bridge with homeless people overnight. I've spent time with homeless people in the psychiatric ward.
Question that's asked, though. To the art one. Mr. Bell.
Madam Chair, I support public art, as Council has supported it as well. Just recently, Council passed a resolution towards public art to fund it, and also to strike a committee from the residents of Pitt Meadows and other expertise for public art. So I hope, as you do, this coming year we'll be seeing some more public art in Pitt Meadows. It's loved and it's needed. I support public art.
Mr. Bing.
Thank you. I am a very strong supporter of public art in Pitt Meadows. When the issue first came up at Council, there was no question in my mind that we needed this. We have a need for a very balanced community, and in my opinion, we were overloaded in the area of sports and athletics, and we were underrepresented in the area of arts and culture. So this is one of the reasons why I was a supporter of the library and of bringing in more public art into Pitt Meadows. Thank you.
And that brings us to our closing statements. So we'll do closing statements reverse order to when we did opening statements. So that puts Mr. Stark, you're up first.
If you choose to elect me as your voice, my first priority on council will be the budget process. I have attended past financial reviews and know just how long and tedious these can be for both staff and new council members. This is a time to ask the tough questions that will manage your tax dollars wisely. And I will ask those tough questions. Families on stretched budgets and people on fixed incomes will be represented at those meetings. I remember like it was yesterday the wise words of my first supervisor at Bell Canada. when I was promoted to a foreman, and I asked him for his advice, and he said, "Mike, talk minus action equals zero." I have lived by those words my whole life, whether it was on the minor hockey board, negotiating a contract, or helping my neighbors to find solutions to complex problems with TransLink. I have attended the majority of council and committee meetings, and I'm very familiar with the process and the players. I will be ready to be your voice the day after a new council is sworn in. On November 19th, vote for Mike Stark to be your voice on council. Thank you.
I'm proud to call Pitt Meadows my home. My goal is to ensure we nurture and enhance what these past council members have strived to achieve. Any change needs to be a positive change in the best interest of both this community and the residents. At a young age, I was instilled with a strong work ethic, strength, and determination. I'm an independent thinker with a collaborative approach. I'll bring a fresh perspective to this community and City Council. I'm determined and I bring solid leadership. I want to be the trusted voice for the people of Pitt Meadows, and I believe during these uncertain economic times, we need to proceed with caution. We need to promote responsible spending. I'm committed to holding municipal accountability and transparency within our city's finances. Pitt Meadows needs to continue to be fiscally responsible and look to a zero-based budget. Let's continue to ensure a future we can all afford and continue to be proud of. I'd like to thank the residents of Pitt Meadows, my family, friends, and the many volunteers for all their support during this campaign. Today before you, you have a diverse group of candidates who all deeply care enough about this community and its people. It's important that you exercise your right for the future of this great city and vote on November the 19th. Thanks very much.
Good evening. There's just a couple of things I'm going to close with tonight. I'd like to challenge every resident of Pitt Meadows. Let's put Pitt Meadows on the map this election. Let's have the highest percentage turnout of voters per capita. So when you go home tonight, talk to 20 people. Get those people out to vote. Secondly, since I've been on council in 1993, there has been a max of 25 people come out to budget meetings, and that's through all the years together. I really think it's time for more people to come out into the budget meetings to understand the process and to give us some input. Don't wait till after the decisions are made. Come and enjoy the meetings like we do and find out what's going on in your community. Please make sure you grab one of my brochures on your way out. Big G, little O, go for Gwen O'Connell.
First off, I'd like to thank you all for taking the time to come to listen to all the candidates this evening. I would also like to thank all of my colleagues who have put their name forward. It's not an easy decision to run for public office, and anyone that steps up to get involved deserves your respect. I can honestly say that each and every person sitting here is running for the right reason. Like myself, they all want to make Pitt Meadows a better place for us to live in the future. We face many challenges ahead: environmental concerns, sustainability, traffic, fiscal responsibility, and the choices we make for our mayor and council this time will affect the city of Pitt Meadows for many years to come. I sincerely hope that you will consider myself, David Murray, to represent you on Pitt Meadows City Council. I know that I will carry a work ethic into this position which will help move the city forward. I've been campaigning for quite some time now, and the reason I wanted to get to know Pitt Meadows citizens on their doorstep. I have listened to your concerns, and I will be ready to act on your behalf when elected. As I said in my opening remarks, if trusted with your vote, I will always listen, remain approachable, and try to fill my duties as a council member with the knowledge of knowing that I represent Pitt Meadows citizens everywhere that I go. Thank you very much for coming out this evening.
As I've connected with residents this past month, well, actually the past few years, it's really clear that citizens want input and better communication with City Hall and Council. And so I am committed to listening to your input and your concerns about how we can improve our communication with you. I moved to Pitt Meadows because of the quality of life we have here. I came from a small farming town in Manitoba, and I was drawn to Pitt Meadows not only to get away from the cold winters and the mosquitoes there, but because of the small town feel. That makes you feel like you're home here. and I have made an investment here and chose to raise my family here, just like you. I want to work with you to protect our investment and preserve the things we love about our community while we plan for future needs. It has been such a pleasure to serve you on council this past term. I want to thank the Pitt Meadows Community Association for hosting this, as well as the Chamber. Thank you all for coming, and thank you for the opportunity to be heard.
Thank you. We have a great community, so we need to ensure that we prosper and succeed. With good leadership and sound decision-making, we can stabilize, control our taxes, encourage and promote new and existing businesses, improve the traffic flows in Pitt Meadows, budget responsibly, and set, achieve, and maintain our performance standards. We can open the lines of communication between the public and council and preserve the livability of our neighborhoods. Now, I've presented a plan and a process that I know will work, and I have the experience, the skills, and determination to make a difference. But we, as your elected representatives, have to work together. City Council must function as a team, and while we'll express our opinions and at times fiercely debate the issues, at the end of the day, we have to come together and be unified. If I'm elected as a member of City Council, I will strive to ensure we work as a focused, cohesive group. That's the only way to succeed. We have a lot of challenges and decisions ahead of us with long-term implications. So it is critical that Council be not only committed and knowledgeable, but also have the passion and strive for achievement and success, a quality that I will provide. On Election Day, November 19th, please vote for Rick Recklowitz. I'll be dedicated and committed to ensuring we get the very best services that will meet the needs of the businesses and residents of Pitt Meadows. Thank you.
Thank you. I originally moved to Pitt Meadows in 1977 from a far-off land where I was born and raised, Haney. And bought my first house here, and here I stayed. I've traveled throughout Canada and in the United States, and this isn't just where I live, this is my home, and I've always returned here. And there's no better community. I mean, all of you seeing here is so heartwarming. You make that possible. And I congratulate all of you for making Pitt Meadows what it is. It's not just council. It's the citizens that live in Pitt Meadows. I would be very proud to sit on council and be a representative to all of you. I would have your ear and hopes and hopefully well wishes to do a good job for you. I don't know what more I can say other than that. I listen, I understand, and on November 19th, vote Michael Hayes for council. Thank you very much.
First off, I want to thank everyone for staying for the duration. This is the best attendance I've seen in any all-candidates meeting. Usually people truck out, but I guess we've kept you entertained enough. What I want to say is just that politics can be really tough, and it's definitely not for the weak. I have played this game for over 20 years. It's rarely about fairness. It's more about who you know, not what you know. And it's also about the ability to negotiate with senior levels of government and the private sector, showing respect, regardless of your political affiliations. To illustrate this, I've got some quotes from people. I'm kind of boring from some of my candidates down here about people talking about stuff. I'm going to have somebody now quote talking about me. I served with these two men on the Municipal Insurance Board as chair for 5 years, so I worked with them for over 10 years total on the board. From Dennis Clark, chair of Municipal Insurance of BC. Janice is obviously intelligent and a very good politician. She is tenacious when she believes in something, and she is fearless in pursuing her goals. From Tony Chong, who's been a long-time CEO in Port Coquitlam. Those of us who had the good fortune to work together with you know the municipal world is poor due to your decision to step down. You are certainly among those elected officials who are in it for the right reasons. While serving together on the MIA board, I admired your tenacity, there's my tenacity again, your leadership, your receptivity to hear from all perspectives prior to making a decision, and most of all, the dedication and commitment to do the best you can. And that's what I am. I'm a type A++, and there's only one way to do it, and it's to do a good job. So in conclusion, I'm back, I'm energetic, and I'm fully prepared to live up to these accolades. Thank you.
27 years ago, when we moved our family to Pitt Meadows, it was due to the small town appeal beauty, and affordability. I'm sure that almost all of you here today chose Pitt Meadows for many of the same reasons that we did. Those of you that came 20 years ago, or 15 years ago, or 8 years ago, or my new neighbors across the street this week. We're here because it's a wonderful community to live in. I thank those citizens who stepped up and were our past mayors and councilors and shaped this community without sacrificing what I cherish about it. From a town with one flashing amber light on Ford Road and the 7-Eleven and Harris Road pool being the highlights for my kids, look what we have today. It is amazing. I'm not saying that things are perfect and that there wasn't a better way of having done some things, but on those issues, hopefully we know a better way now and will do better in the future. I won't promise what I can't deliver, but I will promise this: to be a person of action, to walk what I talk, to be consistent in my words and my actions, to work through conflict and seek resolution in a respectful manner, to do whatever is possible to ensure that our children will be safe and healthy, to seek information and understanding before I act, to listen to the ideas of others that may be different than mine, to generate long-term, cost-effective plans for the future, and to become recognized as a hardworking, contributing member of council. Thank you so much for listening to me tonight.
You know, Pitt Meadows really is the sum of its people, isn't it? This is a wonderful turnout tonight. And thank you so much, all of you, for coming this evening to listen to us all. This is an important election for our city. As your councillor, I will work to ensure that we maintain the Pitt Meadows quality of life by building community spirit, providing the amenities we need, and preserving our farmlands and much-loved neighbourhoods while keeping a lid on property taxes. I offer proven community commitment and leadership skills, a great deal of experience in administration, problem-solving, committee work, and the development of policies. I want to place these skills at the service of the residents of Pitt Meadows as your councillor. I will be accessible to you and ready to listen to your concerns. In fact, if any of you have any more questions after tonight, just look me up on the phone book. I'm in the book, or pick up my pamphlet. Just give me a call. I'd love to hear from you. Please make sure you vote either at an advance poll on the 9th or the 10th, or on November the 19th. And I ask you to cast your vote for me, George Coughlin, as your councillor. Thank you.
The question I posed earlier this evening is, why should you re-elect me to council? I stated that, in my opinion, the reason can be summed up in 3 words: trust, experience, and leadership. Those of you that have already visited my website or my Facebook page already know quite a bit about me. You know that my favorite saying is, it's better to wear out than to rust out. You know another one: if you're not moving forward, you're moving backward. And I want to ensure that Pitt Meadows continues to move forward. You know that my goal is to build a balanced community, one that improves the quality of life for all citizens, yet preserves the community's friendly, small-town feeling and natural environment. You know that if re-elected, I plan to use my knowledge and experience to keep our community moving in a positive direction. Well, this is all true. I am proud to stand for re-election to council based on my passion for making a difference, along with my record of service to the people of Pitt Meadows. On November the 19th, I ask for your support in the coming election. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair, and hello again. Pitt Meadows is truly a great place to live, work, and play. Over the next 3 years, there's other council work that needs to be accomplished. Here are a few examples. We need to lobby senior governments. A considered effort by Pitt Meadows and other surrounding communities with regards to an interchange at the corner of Harris and Loweed Highway would help serve the traffic issues of this community immensely. More bike lanes are needed where cyclists can feel safe and be safe. I support the practice of reducing, reusing, and recycling. Kitchen table scrap garbage pickup is feasible for Pitt Meadows, and in the end, it will reduce dumping fees. If elected, I commit to work on these and other important issues in our city to the best of my ability. I'm seeking your support on November the 19th. Re-elect Bruce Bell, City Council.
I would like to thank our strong panel of candidates for sharing with us and answering the questions from the audience.